in today's video, I interview Holden Hustles on Instagram. He does Amazon Wholesale. He also sells on Walmart, Shopify, eBay. We talk about the pros and cons of that, why he is selling on multiple platforms, how he tracks all the inventory for those. We also talk about how he got started in Amazon, and we cover a lot of wholesale in this, how to open accounts. He goes over exactly what he says on the phone when he's calling wholesale suppliers. He goes over some of the reasons why he thinks sellers cannot open wholesale accounts and just some of the language he uses on the phone I've never heard before. I've watched a lot of videos and know a lot of wholesalers. So really great stuff in there. Please go follow him. All his information will be below, and enjoy the video. All right, what's up, everyone? I'm here with my friend John, Holden Hustles on Instagram. He does wholesale on Amazon, and thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So you want to give a little bit of your background, how you got started selling on Amazon, or how you started the reselling journey? It seems like a lot of people start outside of Amazon and then venture their way to Amazon.
Yeah, so I started in 2016. Happened to didn't know anything about Amazon selling on Amazon. I was actually listening to a property podcast, and they had some guy come on there talking about alternate means of income, and he in passing said sell on Amazon, and the people asked him about it, and he was doing the can't remember his name, but he was doing the deal to buy the clearance pallets from Amazon. So he's buying Amazon clearance pallets, and then he had a warehouse, and he was reselling the stuff as used. And then when I heard like you can sell used stuff on Amazon, it's like, well, what can I sell? So first couple of years, first probably 2 years, yeah, until 2019 was just kind of a fun hobby thing. I found an outlet for used Xboxes and PlayStations. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'd go pick those up, and the old ones are easy to work on. They're just little capsules. So if you got three that didn't work, you can use a Frankenstein one that worked, and then sell it for $200. This was right in the middle. I don't know if it's still going on, but right at that moment, there was a lot of nostalgia builds going on. People building old computers that they had back in the day, or
Oh,
the old
God.
gaming system. So old computer components too, and those did pretty well. There was actually Amazon listings for them. That was pretty interesting. But but no, in 2019, I was kind of wanting to escalate things a little, and my source for the gaming consoles had gone away. So then that's when I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about wholesale, and I'm like, well, I can do that. And started looking into how to do it, and then I found my first supplier in 2019, and just through 2019, 2020, we were into 2020. I had a very small warehouse, and we were just doing that, and then I'd added my first major supplier right before COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and I was selling groceries online, and well, it just kind of, take the whole death plague into the world part out. It's not a bad sector to be in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, grocery and all that kind of stuff was hard to come by. It almost seemed that's all like Amazon wanted. That's when they reintroduced those good old restock limits that kind of really hurt or helped some people depending on what you were selling. Is Amazon the only platform you sell on?
No, it was for the longest time. The progression of my business has been Amazon hobby, Amazon wholesale, and then we kind of pivoted into an actual brick and mortar. So I'm on Shopify, then Walmart, eBay. We cut out the other platforms like Mercari and Poshmark. We tried those, but the inventory management was kind of a pain. But so we do those three major platforms, focus on the top three, and then with Shopify, they have a shop app, excuse me, now, and that's brought additional traffic, and then we do curbside pickup.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and
So
since
you
it's not,
almost be like a BJ's or like a Costco kind of.
Kinda. My prices are better in Costco.
Oh wow.
Since I'm just doing that kind of to keep the brick and mortar aspect of the business going, I don't, and I only sell dry goods, so I don't have refrigerators. I don't have the insurance that goes with refrigerators, things like that. I can just throw a small markup on it on my website, and then people can come and pick it up. They don't have to pay shipping, and they get a pretty good deal.
That's awesome. What would you say is the breakdown of people who actually come and buy to the brick and mortar in terms of your sales?
That's a very small percentage.
Okay. No, that's really cool. I don't know if I've ever really come across someone who kinda has that set up, or at least have, like, mentioned it. What are some of the pros and cons then of selling on the different platforms? Do you have one that you favor more? Or I'm sure they all have their pros and cons.
They do. Amazon is the easiest because it's everything is FBA. eBay is actually my favorite.
Okay.
As far as dealing with people and dealing with returns, all my listings are marked no returns. So it's sold, it's gone, you got it in the story. Walmart's the worst for returns. Walmart, there's actually a uprising of the Walmart sellers. They started one of those online petitions and everything because Walmart was just refunding everything. I'm
Wow.
sure it got out in some groups or something. That, oh yeah, you just order on Walmart, and then when you get it, you just contact Walmart and say it wasn't delivered. We were losing a ton of money that way. Like I ended up in their accelerator program, and I ended up telling the guy, I'm like, dude, I'm about to cancel this. You guys just keep refunding everything. Or if I get a return, like I got an empty can of sardines back one time, stuff like that. I'm like, it's
Oh.
got to stop. It hasn't stopped, but it's gotten better.
Yeah, that's definitely really interesting, and yeah, I used to sell on eBay a lot for when I had, like, the bulk book business, and yeah, the eBay customers are it's just a different kind of customer. They're just more friendly. If you kinda screw up the shipment, they're like, "Hey, did you forget to send something?" And, like, it's kinda just like, "Hey, you're gonna make good on this or what?" You get paid in 2 days, which is nice. So there's a lot of pluses there. But then I guess you're fulfilling everything, so that's kinda like a little bit of a downside as well.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up on those platforms because I had to build out the fulfillment system for Walmart. So it's like, well, I'm already on Walmart. We're already fulfilling. What else can we fulfill for? So then
Oh, okay.
eBay was a pretty logical next step, and then the website. I guess direct through my website is probably the easiest to fulfill because we have the most flexibility there. But yeah, eBay would definitely be second as far as flexibility.
So how do you manage everything? So if you're on, like, Amazon, eBay, you have your own website, Shopify, do you have, like, an inventory software system, or is it do you make it?
Yeah, so, I mean, for Amazon, it's pretty standard issue, inventory lab and all that. Basically, I run two inventories, so I have everything. When I order, my orders will have. I mean, I make spreadsheets for everything. So my orders, when I order from the manufacturer or whatever, will have a column for this stays in the warehouse and this goes to Amazon. And then the stuff that goes to Amazon never gets checked in. It just briefly stops here. Contractors come and prep it and send it on. And then it's just, like I said, it's kind of standard issue Amazon tracking at that point. And then with the other stuff, Shopify has some plugins. So basically, Shopify is the brain of everything else. Shopify manages the inventory, and it will sync it most of the
Okay.
time. It'll sync it. So, like if a unit's bought here, it deducts that unit from the count on eBay and Walmart or whatnot.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So I know you have a full-time job and you do this on the side. How do you find, like, balancing that? Is it hard?
It can be. It was a lot easier during COVID when we were all fully remote. No, I'm fortunate that my job has a lot of flexibility. We have some remote days, and my circle of driving is very small. I drive about 5-6 miles a day round trip. So
Oh, wow, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, I have a 2019 Ford, and it's only got 19,000 miles on it.
Wow,
So,
that's nice. So then do you have, like, a staff that's, like, kinda working with you, like, during in the business, or is it just you?
so I have one part-time employee that comes in daily, and she checks on everything, fills all the merchant field orders, gets them
Oh,
all gone. We haven't worked out with the post office, so they generally come in the afternoon. So she's managing the warehouse. Basically, basically, I've tried to make the warehouse to where I get to do the fun stuff, which is just spend money, and then
yeah.
stuff shows up here, and then they take care of it. So that's been pretty cool. I have two contractors that handle the Amazon part. So when stuff comes in, I'll just send them a message, hey, whenever you want to do this, because they're contractors, I can't give them a schedule. But it's generally when we send those texts, it gets done in a couple days over the weekend, and then everything goes out Monday.
Oh, that,
And then I mean I've got a couple VAs now too, but yeah, no, it's taken me a while to find someone responsible enough to hold down the warehouse without having to check after them and all that. It's pretty nice right now. It's taken a while to get there, but a lot of procedure writings and making myself more available too.
yeah, that's definitely a struggle. Like when I had the book business, just kind of like, you know, if I want to go away, like I still want to keep things going, but like finding someone to trust to kind of go in there every day and like keep things moving along and all that stuff is definitely like always a challenge. And even now, I just hired some VAs, maybe. Oh, it's almost 8 months, and I feel like now we're just finally, like, in stride, like, you almost just don't know what you don't know, like, what you have to write out and whatnot, and now that we have, like, all the procedures, like, as things happen daily, there's just, like, a Google Doc, it's like, "Okay, like, have to add this, let's delete that, like, let's change this," so it's always constantly changing. So, do you ever plan to go full time or
I can't see doing that at this time. You know, a lot of people talk about living the laptop lifestyle and being full time Amazon or whatnot. It's not working out for me. I shouldn't say it's not working out, but I'm not. If I was a single guy, this was 20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you got a wife and kids and a car note and whatever else, then you need that a level of stability. And to be honest, I mean, I like my job.
Yeah.
I like my job. They pay me pretty well. So you can follow two schools of thought, right? You can follow the Gary V train of thought is get out there, hustle, hustle, melt your face, flip something, make $5 on eBay, or you can follow the Grant Cardone method, which is do what makes you the most money
Right.
with your time. So an hour of my time makes significantly more as a data analyst does than it does this right now. But the business definitely has its virtues and its benefits, and definitely makes money. It's paid for a lot of things, but no, I can't see doing that right now. I kind of have a fun job, so
No, yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of people too, it's like it just really depends on what you do. I think like the more you make, the harder it is to walk away, especially if you like that job. I mean, I really just didn't like my job and I was making more like in the weekend sourcing books than I was for like, you know, the 2 weeks that I was getting paid. So it just makes sense for me. I do like think about it every once in a while because it does make I feel like Amazon a lot less stressful because like it's almost like extra money if you kind of have everything like kind of like lined up in your life to make it that way. So like when things don't go your way, it's not as stressful. You do have like time to work it out, but no, yeah, it's very interesting to like hear that someone say that like you know I like my job and like Amazon is just kind of like a fun thing to do.
I look at it like there's worse things I could be doing with my free time than
Exactly.
trying to make more money.
So you do wholesale, which is everyone. I mean, you're on Instagram, so you see margins and ROI and everything thrown away. How much big sales numbers, small sales numbers, all this stuff. What is kind of like your experience with wholesale, like margin wise? How do you handle cash flow? Because that seems to be a big issue for mostly OARA wholesale private label people.
Um, yeah. I mean, with you start talking wholesale, getting the cost down, which is easy to say, and I kind of cheat in that department because I live on the edge of Houston, which is I believe is the fourth largest city in the U.S. So we have everything here. So my largest distributor manufacturer is 7 miles away. Almost everything that gets delivered here is free shipping. So that's one way that I keep my prices down a lot. I usually shoot for about 20%. If there's a listing I'm attached to, I have a few listings that you watch the prices will tick up, and then it gets into that zone where it starts registering on softwares, and people jump in. And I know my bottom number. That's the thing everyone needs to know is how low are you willing to go? Just set that repricer and walk away. because I have a couple listed. I'll burn them down just to keep them. I've I will actively lose money on a listing just to run people off, because if I run you off, you're gone. Then I have that listed myself and I come back up. Know your numbers. That's everyone says that, and it's true. Know where you're ready to go. Know where you want to be. Don't set your repricer to. I'm going on a tangent now. Don't set your repricer to $1,000 when it's probably selling around $799. A lot of people got in trouble with that during COVID
Yeah.
because they didn't think about it, and they set the repricer to, oh yeah, $100 for a bag of beans. They went to $100 and Amazon slapped them for price gouging. That term got overused, but
Yeah.
so just know your top, know your bottom, know where you're happy to be. Um, as far as cash flow, it's a little easier. Admittedly, I cheat a little bit because our orders are filled in a day, so I don't have to do this long extended planning. I can place an order. I can place an order tomorrow, and I can have 3 pallets of groceries here, or I can place an order today by 2 p.m. and have 3 pallets of groceries here today. People ask me about the cash flow. I'm probably not the best person to talk to about cash flow. I know my amount that I keep in here for emergencies, no crap moments, and then past that, I'm spending. I try to keep 3 months. So
Okay.
like if every platform just completely went away today, I could operate this, pay staff, whatever, for 3 months to get back on my feet.
Wow.
Um,
That's awesome.
but past that, I mean, I try not to have money sitting there. So if I see that if my inventory levels are still good, but the cash is starting to build up, since I have a job, I don't have to pull that money. I don't have to pay myself. So I'll try to find somewhere to put it, or I'll look at my manufacturer and see if there's some new listings or something like that.
All right. So on a lot of the listings you're on, do you have a lot of competition or not really?
It comes and goes for sure. You'll see it ramp up to, I mean, 10, 15 sellers, but generally it's in the 5 seller range. I see the same people on every listing because I sell certain specific brands. So if I see them and I see that they're willing to burn that listing down, I'll probably just move on for a little while.
Okay.
But I have my listings that are just our core listings, and I'll keep restocking them even if we're just breaking even.
Okay. How do you I know like for me, like now I'm like starting to find some decent stuff doing OA. And I feel like it starts to sell through and then you're doing good. And maybe kind of what you were saying, like before we're like, now it starts to pop up in the software. Maybe other people are starting to notice those products. Oh, how do you plan almost like replanning or like how much to buy? If you kind of see people creeping up, or you kind of backing off? Or do you kinda just know, like, this is a good product and, like, eventually it will work itself out?
Yeah, well, if it's what you just said, where the price has gone up because sellers have fallen off, and now it's gotten into the RA OA realm, like I said, my repricer set to break even. So we'll just drag them down with us and run them off the listing and move on. I generally try to stock about 30 days,
Okay.
unless it's one that really moves and historically been a good performer. I've gone as far as 90 days, especially going into Q4 and the holidays. The more seasonal stuff that I know is going to move, we'll go ahead and just send in products for fourth quarter and be done with it.
So how do you actually calculate that? So are you just going based on, like, your past sales, or do you have kind of like a method to know how deep you or how many you could sell in 30 days?
That would be a good idea to look at the sales history, and you could look at sales history and see what it's done historically. I wouldn't count the last 2 years sales history of anything. I don't know. I mean, I still use the old Jungle Scout Chrome plugin.
Okay.
I bought it like in 2017 when it first came out. Maybe it was 2018. I paid like $30 for it. So I've just been riding that one time
Wow.
purchase. We'll look at it in Smart Scout and other places like that. Just from having sold for a few years now, I know the ones that are going to be Q4 winners, and just do a check and see where they're at. See if the listing's still good. Make sure it hasn't been hijacked or pictures been manipulated, and see
Yeah,
if
I'm on one of those right now where, like, someone manipulated the picture and it's really hard to we can't really change it, and it's just like one of those like, God, like why? But yeah, that is exciting. I have noticed that too as I've been doing this for almost a year, OA rather. It's definitely a lot easier just like going through a Q4 to be like, oh wow, I sold all this stuff last Q4. A lot of this stuff is still good. Instead of just like starting from scratch all over again. Now I'm like, oh, like this is what they talk about, like why this is so scalable. Cause like once you do put in some of the initial work, like it does get easier.
Mhm.
What are some of the mistakes you made when you first started selling on Amazon?
Probably not structuring the business correctly because, like I said, at first it was a hobby, and then when I was operating as a home based hobby, and then in 2019 when I was ready to pivot into wholesale, I was still trying to. Everything was set up as a home business. You look up my address, it's my home address. You look up if I give you my number, it's just my cell phone number that I don't want to give out anyway. I didn't do a good job splitting finances right off the bat.
Okay.
So I was using my personal credit card when it was a hobby. Well, and then you get to the end of the year, it's like you got to do taxes, and I'm not the most diligent with keeping receipts. So there was a couple of years there where hopefully those 87,000 new IRS agents don't go back and look at it too hard.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah, hopefully
Uh,
not. What do you think the Amazon space will look like in 5 years?
man, I don't know because for a while when all these businesses were snatching up all the private labels and everything was really concentrating down, it looked like it was going to go the way of just your big businesses were going to be on there. But now Amazon's catching a lot of flack about um, predatory activities or whatever it is, where they've kind of like conspired against the small businesses. So I kind of feel like there's going to be some wins for the small businesses coming. It's definitely changed since I got in. I mean, when I got in though, there was a lot of counterfeits and all the categories were wide open. 2016, 2017 is when they clamped down on that. So who knows what they clamp down on next? Maybe they raise their insurance requirements. Maybe they require you to have a. I can't see them doing that, but maybe they require some sort of physical presence, or it
Mm.
seems like they want to deal with verifiable businesses more. It didn't look like it was trending that way for a while, but it's kind of backed off when I've seen. So I don't know. I'm like you. I'll be curious to see.
Yeah, no, and I always like to ask because some people like I feel like I've been selling Amazon now for about 3 or 4 years, and it seems like every like they'll announce probably fee increases in January or whatever, and say they improved a bunch of stuff over the year, and then everyone's like, oh, it's over, like it's not profitable anymore, and then they'll go out. But it's always just interesting. Like every year, it seems like more and more people come on and people are do like really well. So it's just always interesting to see like what Amazon's about. And yeah, it's just like tons of opportunity, I think, right now. I almost thought like it almost had to be you almost had to go like the private label route. It almost seemed like that like a year or two ago, like that would be the best play for like your longevity, which I'm sure it is. But I've talked to a lot of private label sellers lately, and they're saying like there are a lot of Chinese like companies out there that are really doing it cheaper, and it's just really hard to compete with them.
Yeah, we did. So I had a couple private labels, and I did good during COVID because they were produced in the U.S. So I didn't have to deal with any of the supply chain issues. So basically, it wasn't that I had a phenomenal product, but it was that all the competition couldn't get stock. So once
Okay,
once I got stock back up, that kind of went away, and I haven't re-upped that private label anymore. But that was
nice.
me for a while.
Do you prefer wholesale over private label or
Yeah, just because I understand it a little more.
okay, cool. What's one of the biggest challenges you're kind of facing in your business right now? And like how are you tackling that?
Time management, definitely. Got so many things going on. There's because I mean, sitting here, there's a lot of opportunities. We have projects going, but there's other projects I'd like to go after. Same time, I still gotta, you know, work my job that I like, and then be a good spouse and parent and jujitsu dad and all the things. So just time by far is just the hardest. Time is definitely holding the business back. If I wanted to blow this up, I'd have to find that time.
How do you kinda handle that? Like, do you kinda, like, schedule out the day, or you only allocate, like, X amount to the Amazon business, or how do you kinda go about that?
I went the bullet journal route,
Okay.
so that helped a lot. Getting involved with that, so fi- getting someone trained and having the standard operating procedures that went a long way. Because that basically I looked at where I was spending my time and started like cutting things off. It's like, okay, well, I don't need to fill orders. Let's get someone to fill orders. And then that was taken care of. And it's like, well, I don't need to check in inventory. Let's teach this person how to do it. So it's just been one thing after another, just kind of chopping it off and keeping track of everything. We use a task board. I'm famous for walking into the warehouse and like pointing and starting fires and then leaving. So we'll we use Trello. It's a little free task board.
Oh,
So
cool.
task cards, and I have that shared. And when I think of things, because it's on my phone and my laptop, I can just say, "Oh, by the way, here, write it down into a task card." And then next week, when I think about it again, I can actually go back to the task board and see where it's at.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've used Trello in the past for kind of marketing and managing those types of products. And yeah, that's always really nice. Kind of just how you could just move the cards around, like to like, hey, let's do this week, or like, or like you come back, you're like, that's stupid. Like I don't want to do that anymore, or whatever. However that goes.
Yeah, I have
Um.
two. I have two. I have another board that I use for my CRM. So when I'm
Oh, okay. For
researching,
wholesale.
yeah, when I research my suppliers, I have a column for let's look at these guys, and then slide them over, email, called,
Wow.
in the whole progression.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, in Trello, you could definitely add notes and phone numbers and everything. It's almost like a mini Word doc with attachments and stuff. So yeah, I could definitely see how that could be helpful, especially like maybe you have like a board and it's or like a column and it's like they said no, but like you could like go back to that and be like, oh, like this is why they said no or whatever, and kind of go from
Mm. Yeah, I definitely have a dead to me column in there.
there. Dead to me column. That's funny. What is Amazora? I woke up this morning and I was like, I totally forgot to send questions your way, and I was like, let me do some quick research. I just happened to click on Instagram, and I'm just like, oh wow, what is this? I had no idea you did this.
Yeah, so AMZORA, however you want to say it, AMZOARA. So during the summer, it was pretty slow. And like I said, I have a valuable employee now. She's trained. She does really well. But we were kind of getting to that weird area where it's like, well, what do I do right now? I can only sweep the floor so many times. Like, well, it's not a good use of my money for you to sweep the floor every day. And because I used to do OA and RA, I don't now, but because I did, I know the process. I'm familiar with it. So I looked into using our existing software we already have and seeing how we could leverage what I was already paying for. And let's see if I can teach someone to do it. So we started using it, started coming up with a process for it, and it's like, well, this is a thing. Let's make a website. So it started as just let's try this. Let's see if we can keep you busy. Maybe I will do some OA or something. To well, this is kind of cool. I can make these lists and go on. So yeah, so it's I feel like it's a pretty standard issue leads list. We greatly restrict our list based on customer feedback. We just did that. We used to sell several copies, and now we're selling like 8 copies this
Wow, that's
past week.
yeah. I have to say, yeah. When I went to the website, it's definitely interesting. I've been on a bunch of leads lists, and I don't know. Everyone has their opinion about them, but yours is definitely interesting because I'm pretty sure I saw that you account for sales tax and a prep cost, and I feel like a lot of lists don't. So when you're looking at a $3 profit, if you're using a prep center, you're getting taxed. Like a lot of that profit margin is like kind of wiped away. So that's
Yes,
definitely a nice feature.
yes, we went in as if it was something I was going to sell. So we added $1 in there for prep, 7% sales tax, and then I also like I've seen some lists and they'll figuring the Bed Bath and Beyond points or the percent
Mm.
back on the whatever that app Accrington or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They factor in all that. So we're like they're really squeezing a listing to make something of it. We don't do any of that because I want that. I my thought is I want that lead to be a standalone lead. It doesn't need all this extra crap to be
Right.
a decent lead. So maybe in a month we can come back and it's still a good lead. But any leads we issue, we quarantine for 4 months anyway. So
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, because we're kind of doing like the premium private thing. We're going to do some Discord feeds and stuff like that too. I don't want to get accused of selling a list and then just recycling them over here. Which
All right.
I'm talking to people. I hear that's a thing in some groups, so we're going to stay away from it.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting kind of area, I guess. And it's one of those, it's I feel like it's really hard. I know I have like some really good friends who had lead lists and kind of got out of it just because I don't know, it's like it's almost a lose-lose. Like yours is obviously very small, but if you have like 10 people, you're gonna share leads and everyone buys, like it's inevitable that it's going to tank. And depending on how you're finding that stuff, it really just depends. Like it's really until someone else finds it, like anything else.
Yeah,
Um, and that just creates for like a bad experience for a lot of people. Or like you said, it's like leads that like everything has to be right. Like you need to have like a Bed Bath and Beyond account to like get the points and like all this other stuff. And I've found from experience when stuff's like kind of like I think it will work out. That's usually when those leads do not work out, and I lose money.
yeah, we're trying. The last list we had a turns out we had a mismatch. And then we had it was I think it was like 28, 29 leads
Oh
for
wow.
$50, and we did have a couple bogus ones in there like two. So I guess one thing that I could say as a selling point of mine is we will revise our list and reissue that list you already bought.
I did see that
So,
on your Instagram story
yeah.
the other day. So how do you do it? Is it like a monthly thing, or you just kind of randomly drop a list and just post it on Instagram?
Well, there for a while it was like really random. Like I'm going to sit down and drink a beer and make a list, and here you go. No consistency at all. But as it's grown and it's become a thing, and now I'm actually putting some real money into it. It's a weekly list, and then like I said, we got some things in the works.
Cool. Can you talk about some of the things that are in the works or not yet?
Without getting too salesy, we're we're generating leads. We have a leads list. We have a low dispersed list. And I want to take that and I want to pivot it to like there's a lot of Discord groups. So give a Discord group leads, and when I give you those leads, you're the only one that gets them because I quarantine them. I'll probably have to charge you more than the next guy, but if you had a list, I gave you 3 leads a day, you would be the only one getting those leads from me. We could also do that. I am. I've made fun of how many Discord servers there are, but I'm actually building a Discord server. So if someone wanted a private feed for themselves, we're gonna do that as well.
Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, I get asked all the time, or people want me to like do Discord with them, and I don't necessarily understand Discord that well, or not really on there that often. But yeah, like when everyone's popping up with one, I'm like, like I don't know. Like I'd want to be probably doing something like you, where it's like that's not. I don't know of any other Discord doing that, where it's like, well, like these leads are just for you. Like here you go, and I feel like there's definitely a lot of value in that.
Yeah, I said I wasn't going to do a Discord group until I found something different. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, if I have something to offer that's a little different, then I'll look at it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to go about it because, like, I do feel like a lot of the times too, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, like I'm coming out of this course or this," but it's all just kind of the same regurgitated info that's out there or in some other course, and like, I feel like you just really need like your spin on things or like kind of almost to like piss off everyone who are sellers. Like, you kind of reveal that thing that no one wants revealed, and that's kind of like the way to go about it.
Yeah, that was a crusade of mine a couple years ago was with the ungating because I got approached by so many people with like, hey, affiliate our ungating. We'll give you
Yeah.
$100 for every $300 grocery ungate we sell and stuff like that. And then when I started wholesaling, I realized like this is pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's one of the
So,
other things too. It's just I get pitched all the time to promote your leads list, and I don't promote anything. But like I always be like, all right, like send me like 3 or 4 months of the leads that you sent out. And some people will, and they're usually not good. I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna promote this or whatever. Or they invite me to the Discord for free. And I'm like, it's okay. And they're like, no, go, go. And then I go and they're like, why aren't you promoting? And I was like, I never said I would. Like,
yeah.
what's
The
good?
I was gonna say, but kind of in that same realm, since I am a wholesaler now, I've landed on every list there is out there. Our sales folder just gets blown up with two things: either logistics companies or people's VAs sending me the same templates. Hi, we want to open an account. You have fantastic products. We want to spend $50,000 with you next month. Can you send us an Excel spreadsheet with your UPCs? Cannot tell you how many of those I get a day. We don't even answer them. It even says on my website, we're not gonna, if you ask for an account, we're not going to answer you. But people, that's so where I'm going with this is people ask me a lot. It's like, well, how do you find suppliers? Because I deal locally and I have a warehouse. That conversation's pretty easy for me. I just call, the barbecue sauce, whatever. Like, hey man, I got a warehouse over here. We're a cash and carry wholesale. What's it take to get your product in my warehouse? And that's a drastically different conversation than, hi, I'm an Amazon seller. We send stuff out of our garage to Amazon, which there's nothing wrong with, not making fun of anybody,
Yeah. No.
pointing out the difference in the conversation.
Wow,
So,
yeah, that definitely is a different conversation. I actually really have never heard anyone say that like whenever it asks like a wholesaler, oh, how do you like reach out to people? Like never really heard anyone say, oh, like we do cash and carry, like we're local, like how can we work together? Like never heard that before.
yeah. So I went to ASD in 2019, and when I was walking around, so many people had on their tables just signs that said, Amazon sellers go away. We don't talk to Amazon sellers. We don't deal with Amazon sellers. I actually talked to a couple people. I'm like, hey, I saw your sign. I'm just curious why. Or things like that. And basically, they've been burned. They're a hassle to deal with. They break the minimum price, things like that. So then I realized, like, well, if I want to get accounts, I need to phrase it differently. So that was one of the old school tricks back in the day. These guys have been selling longer than me that had the accounts. Is the secret was they had a storefront too.
Oh, okay. Does anyone ever ask like, hey, can they come by and like take a look or inspect what you're doing or
all,
not?
all the time.
Do they actually come and like you're like, oh, here we are?
Well, I mean, I don't let other sellers in here, and that's not true because the my local cash and carry customers who sell on Amazon and then they sell on Amazon, they come by. I do special orders for them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just do a pass through charge. Um, it's you want to talk about cash flow? That's pretty quick cash flow.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine. Yeah, I definitely would think that would be like a really good model. And obviously, you're kind of helping them out to kind of get started, or like even if it's lower margin for them, it's like, hey, like where else are they going to get that if they don't have a warehouse or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sales reps, they like to come by. So I've had them come by when I'm opening an account, just because I tell them I'm a cash and carry over here, and they're like, "We've never heard of you." They come by and they either follow up or they ghost me, because I think my website makes my store sound bigger than it is. So when they get here and they see 1,250 square foot, they're like, "Oh, this isn't a very big business." They,
So
they
what are they come like? What are they looking for? Are they looking for like a cash register or something, or they're just like looking to make sure that like there's a sign that says, "Hey, this is cash and carry." Or
I mean, I have a sign, but I have a sign, a Google listing, Google reviews, all the good stuff. So if they just look me up online, I mean, it is a legit cash and carry wholesale business. Um, Different ones ask for different things. Some of them just want to come by because they like doing business face to face. Like I
okay,
said, I deal local, so it's like, oh well, we're 10 minutes away. We'll come by and talk about it. Some of them are just they don't understand. They want to see it. The sales reps for the existing accounts, they like to just come by and so a couple of them are really good sales reps. They're just doing their job. And they're like, hey, let's go to lunch and
okay,
let me show you our new product. And we miss you during COVID kind of conversations.
cool.
I had the one that I was buying the dry goods from. They're like, what happened to you? I'm like, COVID ended. because apparently I was in the dry bean category. I was out buying Walmart and Kroger and
Wow.
all the local box stores in her sales in my sales rep zone. You know, like who is this business out of nowhere? And it's like, I mean, you buy $30,000 worth of beans a week for a few months, and
Wow.
they begin to like you.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's definitely one way to like kind of get like stand yourself out, outspend Walmart on a category. Is there any questions that like you wish I asked that I didn't?
I talk about again. I talk about opening accounts a lot, and I was telling you about all the emails I get on a daily basis. I could probably open my Outlook up and read you 10 emails. They would almost all read the same. Um, and any other supplier who gets those, they're going to blow those off too, or they have a prefab go away response, stuff like that. I feel like the art of just picking up the phone call has kind of been lost.
Okay.
So I would just tell people. I tell people all the time, just pick up the phone, just call. Even you're not going to be able to answer all their questions if you're new to having those conversations. You got to have a first conversation. Just don't say, "Oh, gee, I don't know." Say or no. Just say, "I don't have that in front of me. Let me get back to you." Don't give them a chance to close the door on you.
So I have two questions and then one last question. So
All right.
you just went over kind of how, you're going through email, people are pitching you. Is there anything that someone does that stands out to you? Like when they just send a cold email or not really? That would catch your eye and want to do business with them?
Well, if it was a genuine email, if it wasn't just a template,
Okay.
if it was a, "Hey, I went to your website, saw this product specifically. Is this something that you can sell in bulk? I'm here." You know, not what I said earlier with, "Hi, I'm so and so, blah blah blah."
Got it. And then the follow-up on that is when you're calling on the phone, like, what are you saying? Are you doing it just locally or like basically if someone was watching this, what would you suggest they say on the phone to get it started? And like if they asked if they're an Amazon seller, how would you handle that?
I mean, I can tell you how I handle it because we don't lie. Um, I call and I ask for the sales department. Say, "Hey, I'm interested in opening an account. Can I talk to your sales department or whoever I need to talk to?" And you just tell them, say, "Hey, I'm John. In my case, I have a wholesale business here in Houston. I saw your products. Some friends told me about this barbecue sauce. I tried it. It was good. What would it take to get that into my warehouse? If you don't have a warehouse, you can't lean on that. Say, hey, people are a little more accepting of e-com businesses
Okay.
because of COVID, and they'll accept that you maybe sell on Amazon too because of COVID. So when I get asked that question, it's yeah, we're a cash carry business. Yeah, we do sell on Amazon. We pivoted over there during COVID when we couldn't have people cash and carry
Uh,
anymore.
okay.
And I tell them, it's like, if your product can't go on Amazon, it's not a problem. We'll just flag it as do not sell on Amazon. 'Cause I'd rather have that account and still be able to sell it somewhere else than
Right.
not at all.
Do they ever ask about like do they care about like Walmart and Shopify and stuff like that or no? eBay?
Well, those Amazon, Walmart, eBay, those are third-party marketplaces. So a lot of times they'll say we don't sell to third-party marketplace sellers.
Got it.
Shopify is different because Shopify is my store.
Got it.
So a lot of suppliers, their listings will say cannot sell on third-party site, must be in a brick and mortar or website you own. So
Okay.
I have a brick and mortar and I have my own website. So I'll just default to that in that conversation.
Interesting. Wow. That's awesome. So the last question I have for you, if you were starting over again and basically kind of lost everything, like your network, but you still had like your knowledge and $1,000, how would you get back to where you are today, business wise?
Well, that's a good question. And lost all my suppliers.
Yeah, you basically had to start over. You don't really have a network and you have like $1,000 and you gotta like figure this out from the ground up to get back to where you were.
I would. I feel like there's some basics you got to set up. Like I said, I look back and I did a poor job of setting up my finances in the beginning. So I'd spend some of that money to set it up properly. And if I'm going wholesale, I'm going to set up my business to look like a business. I'm going to act like a business, and then I'm going to try and get that first account and present myself as a business. I say that, and I probably said that a lot right there, but it's when you have that conversation, it's, hey, I'm not Bob selling out of my garage. Hey, I'm a business. I want to do business with you. What's it going to take for me to do business with you? So, and then, I would use what's left of that $1,000, hopefully somewhere in the $700 range, and make a good $500 first purchase.
Nice. Yeah, I really like that part. Like I've noticed like when you've been talking about talking to the wholesalers on their phone or just now, it's like you almost asking like, how can we work together? How can I make it work? Which makes it really hard for them. They basically have to come back like, no, we can't make it work. And I feel like a lot of people might not want to do that. So you're giving them like lots of options to like kind of like try to work with you.
I think a place people probably fail is they try to hit a home run on the first phone call and the first order. A lot of times you got to prove to the supplier that you're going to pay your number one, their truck isn't going to have a problem delivering. Number two, you're going to pay them on time, or you prepay. I prepay. Like when
Okay.
I call, I'm like, I'll pay you right now.
Nice.
I'll pay you right now, and then you bring it to me. Put the onus on me, but expecting them to kind of cater to how you want to work.
Wow. Yeah, that's a really great piece of advice. I think that's all I have for you. Thanks for being on the channel and dropping all that knowledge. I honestly have not really heard a lot of the advice that you gave, and it's really good. So I think people are going to get a lot of value from this. Is there anywhere you want to send people to follow you or learn more about you?
I'm most active on Instagram at Holden Hustles. So that's a great place to find me.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And check out the free resources below for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video.